Good morning. My name is Janelle Breeze-Bigioni. I'm a registered professional counselor specializing in grief and loss. I'm also known as the Hope Generator, which means that I generate hope when you can't. And it is my mission to help people find the tools that they need to rebuild life after experiencing a loss. And this includes children. So today I'd like to speak with you about children in grief and how you can best support them when they have either experienced a loss personally in their life, or they have heard about a loss on television or in the news, or they know someone who has experienced a loss. Not everybody has, and lots of adults that I speak with say, I haven't even been to a funeral. So it is not uncommon that maybe children haven't experienced loss, but what is more relevant is that people often don't realize that there are more types of loss in life that doesn't include a death. So divorce and separation are prevalent in our society, as well as people being very global and moving from community to community, parents losing jobs, having to start all over from scratch, going bankrupt. Those also are types of losses that we experience and will have a ripple effect into our children's lives. So I am really passionate about helping children find a way to cope through loss and to express their feelings of loss so that they can be stronger and that they can be resilient, and they can use these tools as they move through life into adulthood. Because as I said, loss is part of life, and that's the real tragedy for me. I can't prevent loss from happening to anyone. I can't prevent it from happening in this world. It is part of life, and we do need to cope with it. We do need to learn to move through the journey with as much ease as we can. And no, it's not easy work to do. It's not easy for us, and it's not easy for children. However, the unique thing about children is they have this inherent ability to pace themselves through grief. It is something that we all come here knowing. We know how to dose ourselves with a little bit of the sorrow, and then to take a break from it, and then to go back and feel some more. However, as we age, and whether it's things that our families have imposed on us or society in general have imposed on us, but we begin to feel like we need to fix things. We need to get over it. We need to get through it. We need to get back to who we were as fast as we can, so people will want to be around us again, so we can contribute in life, so we can get life back to normal. But the truth is that if you push through it that way, you don't get back to who you were. You don't get back to the life that you had. You get back to a life of bitterness, a life filled with angst and anxiety, lots of confusion, lots of restlessness in your life. So the only way to get to the life that you want is to go through the journey. And so that is the same for children. The ability that children have to understand sorrow is no less than their ability to understand and feel love. They go hand in hand. We know what love is. We know what pain and sorrow is. And so children can feel that too. And so it's far better for us to teach them ways to cope and to give expression to those feelings, because that really is what the grief journey is about. It's about finding a way to give expression to our feelings of sorrow, and to release those feelings. And so once we release the feelings, we can start to feel stronger. Again, we can allow more happiness to come back into our life. We can get back to engaging with family, friends, going back to work. And so for children, going back to school, to playing, and for them, really, for them and for all of us to know that this is a normal experience, and the feelings that go along with grief and sorrow are normal. They just are crazy making, and it makes us feel like we're going crazy and that we're not coping, but we really are. So of course for children, it is age dependent on how much they're able to understand. But nonetheless, they're able to understand. And they also operate on a very intuitive level. So if you think that by not telling your child what's going on in life is going to help, it doesn't. They know when something is wrong in your family. They know when something's wrong in your home. They know when you feel sad. They know when you're not operating at your best, and they're going to wonder why. And so what you don't want to have happen is that they internalize that to think, I must have done something. I must be doing something wrong for my mom or my dad to feel this way. So finding expression for them starts in that case by sharing with them what you're going through. Now, you don't have to give them all the nitty-gritty details, but saying to them, Mommy is really sad because I lost a friend today, and this is what happened. And yes, it will bring up questions, and yes, they may be a bit concerned. Children who hear about a loss of a mom or dad may be afraid that their mom or dad may die. They may hear about a pet dying and then be afraid that their pet is going to die. That's a normal response. And so, yes, you will have to reassure them that, you know what, no, Mommy's not going to die today. You don't have to worry about that. I'm in good health. I'm taking care of myself. Death is part of life, and, but I plan to live to be, the age of such and such. Like, those are okay. Like, you're not going to instill fear in them by talking about loss. You're not going to set them up to be afraid of everything. You will set them up if they see, hear, and feel loss, and there's no explanation about it. There's no understanding of how to give expression to it. So the same goes for you as an adult. You need to find a way to express your feelings. That is the only way to get through to the other side of grieving and mourning. So for us, for adults and for children, grieving is the internal response we have to a loss. So it's how we feel on the outside. Mourning is giving expression to those feelings of loss. So it is getting the feelings from the inside to the outside and helping us to feel, whole again. But it's in that expression that you're able to release your feelings of sorrow. A child is able to release their feelings of sorrow, and that ultimately we can begin to rebuild life again. So for children, here's some quick and simple things that you can do for them. Help them to find ways to give expression to it. This may be writing a story. It may be getting them to draw a picture about how they feel. And never assume that you understand fully what's going on in their little mind and their heart. So ask lots of questions. Teach me how what you heard is making you feel. Teach me about your friend's mom and dad getting a divorce has made you feel. Teach me what you're thinking is going on in our family. Teach me. A teach me attitude will always get you a lot further in understanding and building a different perspective for yourself. So use a teach me attitude. They can write, they can draw, they can tell stories. Children like to have their hands busy, so getting on the floor, playing with them, and during those playtimes having conversations. Looking certainly for teaching opportunities about loss in life, whether that's a dead bug that you find on the carpet, or you have to say goodbye to a family pet, and using those experiences to talk about death and life and loss and how it makes us feel, and how we do need to give expression to that so we can go on and live our life too. In my book, Life Loss is Healing for a Broken Heart, I dedicate an entire chapter to children in grief because it is really important for people to understand that they will feel the loss too. And yes, children are resilient, and we are resilient as adults too. But don't assume that resilience is the first thing that takes over for them. They still need to find expression. In the back of that chapter, I have a drawing called Pocket Angels, and there's a story in the chapter that I share about my daughters after their dad died, and me taking them through our home so that they could gather up some memories. And you certainly can do this as well, using Pocket Angels. Get them to write something that's a favorite memory that will carry them through even the darkest hours, so they can do that as well. If they're hearing about stories in the news that are frightening them, a child being murdered, a child dying suddenly, unexpectedly in a drowning or in a car crash, for example, having conversations about how you work to keep life safe and how that you're managing risk in life and that you're protected, your community is protected. All of those things will bring reassurance for them, but not talking about it and just saying to them, don't be afraid of that, don't listen to that, isn't going to help them put their feelings aside. Think about you as an adult who may have fears come up, and if somebody just says to you, that's ridiculous, don't think about that. that doesn't make the thought go away. It doesn't make the feeling go away. You need to be able to talk about it. You also can build in little rituals for them, and rituals are not a scary thing. Rituals are things that we do every day. We use rituals to celebrate things in life, like birthdays and weddings, baptisms, all those kind of things. We have rituals around. But we also have daily rituals, our morning ritual, brushing our teeth, washing our face, maybe doing some exercise. Our nighttime rituals, children have that. They have a bath, they have a snack, they have a story, they brush their teeth, and they go to bed. That's a nighttime ritual. So building in rituals to help them find ways to give expression is also equally important and a good thing to do. So some of the things that I've done with adults that will work with a child as well is look for very special rocks that perhaps they could write a name on or a message on, and they can put the rock in the garden. Take them, if they've heard about a death of someone and they're feeling very sad about that, they could plant a flower for that person. They could plant a little shrub in your yard. Buy them a rose, take them down to the ocean, a lake, or a stream nearby, and let them take the petals off and release the petals into the water, and send good thoughts to that person and share their memories. And most of all, understand that it's okay for children to cry. It's okay for adults to cry too. That's a healthy thing. And often when we're feeling extreme stress and we're not able to put that into words, our sorrow or feelings, crying is a way of cleansing the body. Children do react in different ways, such as they may regress, and suddenly a younger child may become quite clingy. A teenager may become very withdrawn and sullen. A child who was able to sleep on their own all of a sudden can't be in their bedroom by themselves. They're afraid to be alone in the dark. They're afraid to be alone at night. Perhaps a child who's now potty trained is having accidents. Those are all things that can happen to a child in grief. So educating yourself about the potential responses of grief that we can have as an adult and that your child may have will help you to understand what's going on with them. Do know that this is temporary. These things do get better with time, and it is not the time that heals all, but it is what we do with the time that will heal all. So that's the same for adults and for children alike. So if your child is experiencing sorrow, you'll want to find ways to help them express that. So giving them time to adjust what's happened is important if this is something impacting your life directly, and also having conversations with them if this is something very external to your life, like what we hear on the news about terrorist attacks and bombings, and those are important things to talk about. And like I wouldn't be listening to the news all the time. I myself take a break from that and turn it off because it's just overwhelming. But know that your child hears it. They hear adults talking about it. So having a conversation about how you are safe and what your community's like will be important too. So, understand that grief in children is normal. Grief in adults is normal. It's part of our life. But we do have to develop the tools to cope with it and to move beyond it. And children are no different. You can learn from your child, and just as your child is learning from you. So take every opportunity that you can to give them these tools and help them to re-engage with life and to push past fear by using tools to help them release what it is that they're feeling, and then build in, for sure, at the end of your time together, if you're talking about their feelings of sorrow and sadness, build in some time of happiness and reconnection, where you're not talking about sad things, where you're doing happy things together, whether it's going for a walk, for ice cream, playing a board game, just chilling out in the evening, stay off your phone, like really be present to them in the moment. Those will go a long, long way. So I invite you to check out my website, JanelleBeebe.com and thehopegenerator.com, and join me in sharing the hope with people. Take a little time today to be present to someone, and that will give them hope to get through what they need to get through in order to rebuild their life. God bless and have a great day.